To his opponents, he's the villain. He makes sure of it. On every single down, he gets in his receiver's head and makes one thing crystal clear. Hey, it's going to be a long game for you. It's pure psychological warfare. Like, you're trash, get your ass down. And he backed it up. Anytime he lined up against them, the tape doesn't lie. He doesn't just outplay the NFL's best receivers, he dominates them physically and mentally. He's even infamous for sliding into their girlfriend's DMs. And he'll use it as ammunition mid-game. I'm bringing it up in the game like, yeah, I slid in, first name basis. That kind of trash talk makes tempers flare. But peel back the layers of drama, and you'll find one of the most gifted defensive backs of a generation and a Super Bowl champion. So, how did this kid from Smyrna, Tennessee, evolve into one of the most feared defenders in the entire league? To understand the man, you have to go back to the beginning, when Jalen Ramsey was an athletic marvel. And Jalen Ramsey from Brentwood Academy is going to repeat his championship and take his second title of the night. And then there was football. On the gridiron, Jalen was an absolute phenom, a 5-star recruit, one of the most sought-after prospects in the nation. He had his pick of any school in the country. Ultimately, Jalen took his talents to Florida State, a powerhouse where he wouldn't just be a football star, he'd be a two-sport athlete, running track as well. And from the second he set foot on campus, the coaching staff was blown away. It wasn't just his raw athleticism that stunned them, it was the one trait that defined him above all else. He's a tremendous competitor. That's the core of who he is. It's a fire that burns even brighter than his incredible athletic ability. He is an elite competitor, and we're just lucky to have him. He has that undeniable will to win, and you could see it from day one. Right out of the gate, as a true freshman, Jalen started every single game at safety, anchoring a defense that led the Seminoles to a perfect 14-0 season and a national championship. To win the game as a true freshman, that's pretty special. Yeah, it's special. But it's not really about me and being a true freshman, it's about the team. That victory ignited something in him. His confidence surged to a whole new stratosphere. He became louder, more magnetic, and the cameras couldn't get enough. How do you feel about Jalen Ramsey? Jalen Ramsey, I'll probably get him in the long jump. I'll probably go up there at 27, 28. We gonna move on. Time I spent a lot. Yeah, I'm letting them have their little shine right now, because later on in practice, they usually don't get it in practice. Let's go to other Odell Beckham. We got another celebrity guest appearing, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Heading into his junior year, he wasn't just hoping to go pro, he believed he was a top 5 draft pick. So that entire season became a mission, dominate everything. He would look for any possible advantage, the slightest edge to help him win. Say I was playing like a big receiver at whatever school. I would look up his Instagram, see his girlfriend, whatever. Probably go slide in the DMs. I'm bringing it up in the game like, yeah, I slid in, first name basis. People get hot about that. That relentless competitiveness was his superpower, the very thing that made him great. But sometimes it was also his kryptonite. He brought that same ferocious energy to practice, occasionally taking it too far. And head coach Jimbo Fisher had to send a message, kicking him out of practice. No, it ain't typical. It's not what we're gonna do. He was told not to do something. He defied me. And I'm very upset with him. It's lack of leadership. It's lack of character. But the very next day, Jalen was right back on that field. The issue was squashed. And he came back with that exact same unapologetic fire. Who is the best corner in the country? Who is it? Zoom in. Hey, we gonna get a good game, man. Just a good game, man. That's all we want. We gonna compete. All right? That's all we gonna do. See, they go for good games and competing. We go for wins, baby. 2 hands in the air, no bread. He's still gonna run that dinner. What man God ain't bigger on me? Why your public driller? Jalen responded with his most dominant season yet. He was a true lockdown corner, an absolutely fearless tackler, and the undisputed leader of that team. The mission was complete. It was time to ascend to the next level. He officially declared for the NFL draft. Ramsey put on an athletic spectacle at the combine. His performance was so explosive there was no longer any debate. He was one of the most elite players in his class. But not every team was sold. That same supreme confidence that made him a star also rubbed some evaluators the wrong way. He's a clapper, first and foremost. He's a clapper. Okay, he wants to get in a guy's head, and I think you can actually go against him and get in his head. And at the next level, he'll probably get flagged for a ton if he does something like that. In these top 10 teams, we got Chargers, Cowboys, Jacksonville Jaguars, Like, all these teams could potentially need a defensive back. Got the Chargers here at 3. They're either going to go me or Joey Bosa. The San Diego Chargers select Joey Bosa. I really wanted to go to the Cowboys. That was my dream team growing up. They had told me straight up, like, if you get to 4, if the Chargers don't take you, we're taking you. So I'm like, man, I'm going to be good. The Dallas Cowboys select Ezekiel Elliott, and the second they picked Zeke, my phone started ringing. Jalen Ramsey, this is Dave Caldwell at Jacksonville Jaguar. I was happy. Definitely happy. But that draft day slide immediately put a massive chip on my shoulder. I was ready to get to work. And the entire NFL was put on notice immediately. Because in week 3, Jalen found himself lined up against a certified legend, Steve Smith, a guy known for his ferocious intensity. That whole week, it was. And my teammates at the time, they knew how I am. Jalen, don't talk to Steve. Don't argue with Steve. Don't do anything with Steve. Nothing with Steve. He's crazy. He's gonna spaz. I'm like, y'all crazy. Like, I'm that. I don't care what he's talking about. I'm that. Then there was a turnover. His ball is deflected and intercepted by Puslushny. And right in the middle of the pile, he ended up getting a flag. It all started when he gave one of our defensive backs a cheap shot after the whistle. That was the spark. He put his hands on me. I got back to my feet, stared him down, and what he said next told me everything I needed to know. He shot back, "Nobody out here is scared of you," but his exact words were, "Look, young, you're a solid player, but you better check who you're mouthing off to. You better watch yourself." And I just burst out laughing right in his face. He was speechless. Later, in the locker room, he was still running his mouth. The game was over. "You're still salty because I had you in lockdown. Fine, go lose some sleep over it." Every single time I matched up against him. Man, go back and watch the tape. You tell me who won that battle. The media blew it up, but it was never that serious. Ramsey is a true competitor, a guy who absolutely refuses to back down from anybody. His trash talk was never just a tactic to get under an opponent's skin. He channeled it to elevate his own game. Talking smack actually fires me up, gives me that extra edge. If I'm going to talk, I know I have to bring my A game. Whatever I say, if I was talking big on Monday, you better believe I was grinding my tail off all week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so that on Sunday, I could make every single word stand up. That's the piece of the puzzle everyone seems to overlook. The talk fueled his focus, from his recovery right down to his nutrition. Elite athletes like Jalen have to get enough protein. And while there are countless supplements on the market, you can't beat Whole Foods. That's why I prioritize keeping my nutrition clean and natural. He was a legitimate shutdown corner who lived rent-free in your head for the entire game. And in his second year, he took both of those skills to a whole new level. Oh, a scuffle is breaking out behind the line of scrimmage. The flags are flying everywhere. A.J. Green. But even with all the on-field drama, Ramsey's sheer talent was impossible to deny, and his performance was consistently world-class. He earned a first-team All-Pro selection in only his second year in the league, becoming a cornerstone for turning that franchise around. Consider this. His rookie year, that team won a total of 3 games. But by 2017, they battled their way into the playoffs, setting up a wild-card showdown with the Buffalo Bills. And with the game on the line, less than a minute on the clock, the ball came his direction. The pass is tipped and picked off by Ramsey to seal the victory. "We're going to the Super Bowl and we're going to win that thing." The Jaguars rode that wave of momentum, knocking off the Steelers to earn a date with Tom Brady and the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Jacksonville held the lead, but it ended in a devastating loss. I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow, but that defeat became his fuel. It proved he was on the doorstep of winning a ring. So, coming into the next season, that confidence got a whole lot louder. Ramsey declares Josh Allen is trash. He labeled Matt Ryan as overrated, called Big Ben decent at best, and said Joe Flacco flat out sucks. And it wasn't just the quarterbacks. No one was off limits. He went head-to-head with Gronk, arguably the greatest tight end in the history of the NFL, and held him to a mere 2 catches for just 15 yards. A couple of weeks after that, he had to cover one of the fastest men in the league, Tyreek Hill. But as always, Ramsey didn't give a damn who was lining up across from him. He was going to let him hear it. He's a great player for what he brings to that team. He's an all-pro return specialist. Let's be clear on that. His 2 Pro Bowl selections were as a return specialist. This isn't some epic wide receiver versus cornerback showdown. I'm not gonna lie, man, that dude Jalen Ramsey, boy, his trash talk is on another level. That man will bring your girl into it, your mama. And fellas, we all know the second someone starts talking about your mama, you lose all your focus. So, with Ramsey, man, he probably won the trash talking battle against me, bro. Then in week 11, Ramsey matched up with one of the premier receivers in football and absolutely dominated. 7 games in a row, he throws it to the end zone, and it's Ramsey who comes down with the interception, and another one picked off. It seemed like the Jaguars had found their franchise player for the next decade, but tensions were brewing behind closed doors. Ramsey's growing frustrations with the front office finally boiled over onto the sideline. We've got fireworks on the Jacksonville sideline. Jalen Ramsey is coming off the field, and that's head coach Doug Marrone. He is screaming at him. Marrone then follows him all the way to the bench. Every single week when I was in Jacksonville, I was handed the toughest assignment on the field. Go erase their number 1 receiver so the rest of the defense could just play their game. DeAndre Hopkins, the best receiver in the NFL. That was my job for the day. I'm lining up on D-Hop, shadowing him all over the field, and I saw a play, a route where I was certain he dropped the ball. I literally watched it hit the turf. I'm not sure. Did he actually catch that? Doug is keeping the challenge flag in his pocket. Hey, I'm one of your best players. You gave me this impossible task for this game. I need you to have my back. So the fact that he refused to throw the flag, it just hit me the wrong way. That was one of the first times in my career I was in a place where I truly didn't feel like I was valued. The whole situation felt strange and deeply frustrating, and on top of that, we weren't winning, and they were dragging their feet on paying me. With all of that piling up, it was like, man, what is my purpose here? Jalen Ramsey's agent, David Mulugheta, officially requested a trade out of the Jacksonville Jaguars organization. I was crystal clear with him. I wanted to land on a team built to win. A few franchises stood out. I really liked Baltimore. Their identity was built on defense. And of course, Kansas City. They were obviously a winning organization, but the one team I pushed for, the one I absolutely hammered the table for, was the Oakland Raiders. I was like, please, you have to get me there. I was practically begging to go to the Raiders, but getting Ramsey came with a king's ransom, and one team was ready to pay up. Breaking news, Jalen Ramsey has been traded to the Los Angeles Rams in a blockbuster deal for 3 total picks, including 2 first-round selections and a 4th-rounder. I felt a sense of freedom. It was a completely fresh start, a new uniform, but it was the same Jalen Ramsey, a shutdown corner with zero fear, who was going to lock you down and make sure you heard all about it. I've been grinding with a chip on my shoulder. While most of these pretenders aren't about real money, more like a lot of 300. She pulls out her bag and I crash on it. I pull out my anatomy and she goes to work on it. A little on the wild side, she's devouring. Breaking news coming out of Los Angeles. The Rams have just made Jalen Ramsey the highest paid defensive back in the entire history of the National Football League. A 5-year deal worth $105 million. He didn't just reset the cornerback market. He completely obliterated it. Sean McVay's team was all in. The mentality was Super Bowl or bust. And Ramsey was absolutely essential to that vision. He became the catalyst that transformed the Rams' defense, elevating them into one of the most dominant and feared units in the entire NFL. Play action, now facing heavy pressure. A sack back at the 45-yard line. Here's a pass pounded into the air and intercepted by Ramsey. He's hit as he launches it toward the end zone. It's picked off. Jalen Ramsey comes down with the interception at the goal line. The Rams blazed a path into the playoffs. And for Ramsey, that path led straight back to a familiar ghost, Tom Brady, the very man who had snatched a Super Bowl from his grasp. Only this time, the script had a different ending. A 30-yard field goal to win the game. Matt Gay drills it, and the Rams survive by the skin of their teeth. That incredible victory set the stage for the NFC Championship, a showdown against their division arch nemesis, the San Francisco 49ers. And in the fourth quarter, with the game hanging in the balance, Ramsey spotted his chance to be the hero. But in the end, the Rams clawed their way to the top, and Jalen Ramsey was officially headed to his first ever Super Bowl. Their opponents, the Cincinnati Bengals, armed with arguably the best receiver in the game, Jamar Chase. I want to erase that guy from the game plan. Have you had that conversation with the coach? Come on, man. You know who I am. Of course. That's what I live for. That's exactly what I want. Whoever you think your number one weapon is, put me on him. Let me be the one to help this team win the whole thing. A straight drop back. He's airing it out, going deep down that sideline. He reaches out and makes the spectacular grab, and they go for it on 4th and 1. And the pass falls incomplete. Both superstars had their highlight moments, and the game came right down to the final seconds, but when the dust settled, the Rams were victorious. And Jalen Ramsey was, at long last, a Super Bowl champion. It's a feeling that's still indescribable, even to this day. A pure, indescribable joy for life. Everything I ever dreamed of has become a reality. My genuine childhood dream has actually come true. During his chapter in LA, Ramsey wasn't the same firebrand he was in his first few years. He still brought that signature intensity, but the sideline fights, the ejections, the post-game blow-ups, they were gone. It truly seemed like Los Angeles was the perfect home. The Rams' all-in gamble had paid off, but high-stakes moves like that always carry a future cost, because after a championship ring, everybody wants their payday. The Rams were forced to start clearing cap space, and with Jalen due for another massive contract, the writing was on the wall. We have some breaking news coming into headquarters. The Miami Dolphins are acquiring all-pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey from the LA Rams. Ramsey was now paired with Xavier Howard, who himself was one of the premier defensive backs in the league at that time. Welcome to Miami, my man. You good? They never thought we'd end up on the same squad, though. I couldn't believe it, brother. We're about to be the best duo in the game. Remember that. But the Miami faithful would have to wait to see their new superstar in action. I was in a one-on-one locking up Tyreek Hill one day in practice, right? I made a break on the ball. And, I don't know, my knee just popped. Something gave out. It was probably already a little messed up in there, to be honest. Ramsey was placed on injured reserve, and in week 8, he finally stepped onto the gridiron for the first time as a Dolphin. It feels like everyone's been hyping up this offense for the past couple of years, but today, the story is all about this Miami defense, because Jalen Ramsey is finally slated to make his Dolphins debut, looking to tie the game. The pass is intercepted! Jalen Ramsey gets his first pick in his very first game as a Dolphin. And 2 weeks later, against the Raiders, he was an absolute force of nature. It's picked off, intercepted. Ramsey's got it, going for the deep shot, and it's intercepted. Another one for Ramsey. Once again, Ramsey was performing at a ridiculously high level. And even after missing 7 games, he was still named to the Pro Bowl. He was a culture changer for that defense. And the Dolphins organization saw the monumental impact he made on their team, both on and off the field. There's a new highest paid cornerback in the National Football League, and his name is Jalen Ramsey. That new contract moves him just beyond the $24 million that Patrick Surtain II is getting from the Broncos. But from that point on, things started to get turbulent. In 2024, Miami stumbled through a disappointing season, and Jalen wasn't playing his sharpest football. In the end zone. Harrison, for the first time since his rookie campaign, he was left off the Pro Bowl roster. Now, in his 9th year in the league, the narrative began to shift, with critics labeling him washed and overrated. But according to NFL insider Tom Pelissero, there was a deeper reality to the situation. He and Vic Fangio were never on the same page. And on top of that, Vic Fangio was looking for a ticket back to Philly. So while it was framed as a mutual decision, the writing was on the wall. Vic was being shown the door. A major source of that tension was Jalen Ramsey's disdain for Fangio's rigid old-school scheme. It was a system that didn't allow for creative input or the freedom to position Jalen Ramsey in spots where he could truly wreck an offense. So, after a couple of weeks of intense negotiations between our front office, Jalen, and his agent, we all agreed that the best move for everyone was to go our separate ways. And that blew the door wide open for another franchise. A team that wasn't just willing, but eager to bring in that kind of explosive energy. A contender that was loading up, having just brought in DK Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers, Darius Slay, and Jonnu Smith. They were all in on a Super Bowl push. For Ramsey, it felt like fate. This is where God led me for whatever reason. And this is where he wanted me to be, because I can focus strictly on football, get back to the basics. Pittsburgh pitched a radical new vision, shifting Ramsey to safety, a position he hadn't played in 13 years. But he embraced the challenge without a moment's hesitation. It was a mutual feeling, to be honest. Just a sense that it's what the team needed. It's what the secondary needed. It may have been a new role on the depth chart, but it was the same Jalen Ramsey. In week 1 against the Jets, he immediately went after their number 1 receiver, Garrett Wilson. Those are the moments that ignite the fire in Jalen, and as he so often does, he delivered the final knockout punch. Fields on 4th down, steps up, Fields delivers. And the ball is knocked free. Garrett Wilson could not secure it. And Jalen Ramsey has slammed the door shut. Pittsburgh deployed him like a chess master, unleashing his raw physicality all over the gridiron. And the strategy paid dividends in week 6 when he recorded the first multi-sack performance of his entire career. Gabriel gets sacked. Jalen Ramsey. Gabriel flushed out of the pocket, on the move, dragged down from behind. Jalen Ramsey. I'm probably going to tell my kids about this. I played in a game with TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, and times had 2 sacks. Isn't that wild? I cannot praise Jalen Ramsey enough, guys. This man plays outside corner. He plays the nickel. He plays free safety. He is everything we dreamed he would be. Later that year, Ramsey came face-to-face with a familiar foe, Ja'Marr Chase, his rival from that epic Super Bowl showdown. And this time, Ja'Marr absolutely lit him up. But now they were divisional enemies, guaranteeing a 2nd round. As expected, it was an all-out war, with Ramsey using his signature mind games to elevate his performance. But this time, Ja'Marr Chase took the bait. He spit on me, so it's on. The football game is over after that, respectfully. And the broadcast caught the fallout. Look, they're going at it again. The flags come flying in again. It's Jalen Ramsey. I'm always down for trash talk and all that, Ramsey said later. I actually love that part of the game. I think everyone knows that. But the second he spit, that's a line you just don't cross with me. But through it all, Jalen put together a phenomenal year, helping drive the Steelers to the postseason. And he saved his best for a crucial moment. Here's the blitz. Tonga knocked down, and Jalen Ramsey jumps the route on his former Rams teammate and picks it off. He proved he was anything but washed, because even after a complete position change, in his 10th season in the league, Jalen Ramsey notched his 8th career Pro Bowl selection. It was a statement to the entire league that Jalen Ramsey is still operating at the highest level. It's undeniable, he is one of the most dominant cornerbacks of his generation, an ultimate competitor who will do whatever it takes to win. He's a player whose impact will echo long after he hangs up his cleats. Because whether you hate him or love him, Jalen Ramsey is one of one. I was always raised to be the absolute best in everything I did. Whatever you choose to do, you have to be the best at it. That installs a mindset where, okay, I have to pour everything into this. I have to be relentless. When I get my opportunity on that field, I'm going to make it count. I want to leave a lasting legacy on the game of football. I want my name to be spoken in the same breath as a legend like Deion. You know how people talk about Deion saying, I've never seen anyone play the game the way he did ever. That's what I want people to say at the end of my career. Like, yeah, I have never seen anyone play the game like he played, ever. Subscribe for more stories. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate every single one of y'all. See you at the next one. Have a blessed day.